A very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome you once again to the Wealth Summit of ACAE. This is a post-lunch session, but we have an amazing speaker lined up for the session, and I'm hoping that you'll have pearls of wisdom for creation of wealth coming your way. So with these words, may I also request the audience to kindly join your hands in welcoming CA Rajesh Kumar Jain, author and family business expert, to, I think a little louder round of applause would do good to all of us. Thank you so much. With a few words, I would like to first introduce our learned speaker for the session. CA Rajesh Jain is a finance and management expert with over 30 years of industry experience, a chartered accountant by qualification and an alumnus of IIM Calcutta's Special Management Program. He is the founder of Janus Advisory Services, which offers strategic guidance in M&A, business intelligence, real estate, so on and so forth. And his list of activities does not end here. He also happens to be a very acclaimed author and an international speaker who's addressed global platforms, including the Parliament of World Religion in Toronto and the China Convention in New Jersey. With these words, we welcome you at ACAE, sir. And now may I kindly request Indu Chatrat, sir, if he's in the hall. So if you can please come forward and present a memento and utario to Rajesh Jain, sir. Thank you for doing the honors, sir. And now, may I please request Rajesh Ji to kindly come forward for his deliberation. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, can outsiders listen to me? I need to call them actually, so that everybody settles down and we begin. My topic today is managing family wealth for sustainable growth from legendary past to promising future. You have been there. I believe most of you are affluent. But if I ask a question that how many of you are enjoying wealth as a third generational family, probably not many hands will go up. But if I ask that how many of you are first generation or second generation, then many will participate in that. That's the issue, that Lakshmi is Chanchala. It doesn't stay. So our challenge is how to make it stay. And I'll not cover how to make wealth, because you have many speakers today who have talked about it. And who have guided you in where to invest, how to invest and all. I'll also not talk about the legal aspects of it, like how to really pass on your wealth through trust or other planning apparatus. My focus will be to look at wealth from a pure philosophical and values oriented perspective. The reason being that this is the part which explains why wealth doesn't stay. Because unless you attach that part of it in transferring your wealth, you have to redefine your wealth actually, what exactly wealth is. It is much more than money. Because money tends to dilute. Had it not been so, then you have money today, you didn't have it earlier. Because of this change phenomena that you have wealth today, a past continues into the future just like that. then there will be no hope for people who are aspiring. So it's fine. The game is like that only, that some come up, some goes down. It's like a bubbles actually. And how do you, like life, longevity is the issue. I mean, you can't really ignore being mortal. It's inevitable. Similarly, for family businesses, to survive for generations, I mean, that may not be a choice for all. Only for some enlightened few who really plan well can think of perpetuating their wealth across generations. So anyway, so wealth is not what you have, it is what you do with what you have. And just looking at it like money and then saying that I am wealthy, and that doesn't suffice. You have to move beyond that. And there is a dynamics of pride, and prudence lies in question every family must ask, that do we want to burn once or flow forever. Generally what happens with wealth, कि अभी पैसा है और हम एकदम सडन कहीं से पैसा आया या हमने अर्न किया, and then it doesn't last. So how to make it flow forever? Again, this is just an aspiration. I cannot also give you a formula how to flow it forever, but as we do with our health, that we try to prolong our healthy state and we try to prolong our life, same with family businesses. And this is not a poetic dilemma, it is an existential one. And what is the story of evolution? First generation makes the wealth, it takes risk and through sacrifice and greed. Second generation preserves it. This is a good side of the story I am telling you. There is a truth that I will tell you later. Okay? Preserve it, and then third generation must grow holistically, aligning money with mission. And true legacy is not just about sustaining assets, but building purpose, system and trust. The real truth of family business is just the opposite actually. The most famous saying which goes about family business is that the first generation creates, second generation nurtures, and third generation destroys. It is called shirt sleeve to shirt sleeve. Here it is very thin, it becomes a big broader here, and then again it thins out. I mean, so that's the truth. Only 10% of family businesses are able to survive through the third generation. When we say that, they become fragmented. So maybe one fragment is, one part of it is growing, like in the case of Birla's. Aditya Birla Group is growing, but what about others? They are not growing. So this is the truth about family business. So burning once, fast growth, poor governance, dominance without durability, and legacy at risk of ego and entropy. What is entropy? Things tend to deteriorate if you don't do anything about that. चाय रख देते हैं ठंडी हो जाती है, कोल्ड ड्रिंक रख देते हैं गर्म हो जाता है, रात में आप सोते हैं सब कुछ साफ करके धूल जम जाती है. So the law of nature is this, that we say that go with the flow. What is the nature of flow? It tends to go downwards. So if you are not deliberate and intentional about something, it will tend to go downwards, it will tend to get lost. So the tendency of nature is deterioration. So if the key lies here in being intentional. That are you really focused in doing something with purpose? Do you have a mission, or are you just letting things happen? So when you let things happen, that's not your agenda. Things will happen, but they will not happen according to your agenda. For example, when you don't make will, then also the wealth will get transferred. But will it be transferred according to your wishes or not? That is the question. So that's why you do all the planning. So intentionality and purpose, they are the main thing for the families who really want to perpetuate their growth, and that's a very big dilemma. The dilemma is this, that family businesses, family is a very informal system. You can't have rules and regulations in family. Whereas to perpetuate you require policies, constitution, and then constituting your advisory council and lot many things. So this conflict is very difficult to manage for most of the families. How to bring formality into an informal system. But those who are enlightened, those who want to sustain, they do it. And those are the ones who survive actually. So designing for resilience, governed with discipline and sustained by values and foresight. So choose the river, not the bonfire. Bonfire is for one night thing. I mean, you enjoy and then it's over. So there are 4 pillars of governance actually, the really enduring the wealth. One is the performance, which we all know, that ultimately you have to perform well. If the profits are not coming, on day-to-day performance is not good, then the wealth will not survive actually. Second is governance, which is very, very important and which most of the first generation entrepreneurs find difficult for a different reason, because they have been very strong-headed. Entrepreneurship comes like that only, ego-driven, self-confident. They tend to trust their instinct more than anything else. So, to have a body which oversees you and asks you question, now that's the game actually. I mean, there's an aspect which I like to say is, may somebody watch me. When somebody is watching you, when somebody is holding you accountable, when you have independent directors who can really be forceful, who can really make you think, and then every time there is a quarterly meeting, then, oh boss, last time we have given this target, he will come and he will ask this question. If you don't have that kind of a system, ultimately it's your money. That liberty you have to give. So, governance from family perspective is a bit different. Reputation you have to manage, because that's the brand. That's the most powerful asset for you to sustain over, because that brings family pride. And when a family is very, very renowned, it has a good name, that the next generation is also inclined to then join the family business. Because that brings pride. That comes from many things like philanthropy and what other things you do for the society. So the brand aspect, are you recognized as a good employer, as a good party to whom the banks can lend easily? I mean, these issues have become important for banks also, because how the family is being governed. If suddenly there is a rift, then a well-going company collapses. So all those issues become important, and the risk management part, which is the part which everybody really ignores. We all tend to drive the momentum. Whatever is going good, when we as consultant go to a family, general thinking is that boss, हमारे यहाँ सब कुछ ठीक है, हमारे यहाँ कोई problem नहीं है. I mean, then if we ask this question, then can you tell me the name of a family which has survived for the last 50 years together? Then they start fumbling. I mean, you hardly can tell any names. So that means it is an inevitability. If you don't do anything about it, that is bound to happen. So there needs to be an intentionality about it. So, and the risk management part is you see, one thing a wealthy family has to understand. You are no longer in a make wealth game. That part is over, you are made wealth. You are in a preserve wealth game and you are in a grow wealth game. The rules are different here. Your appetite for risk needs to be calibrated. It cannot remain the same in a 7 up, 7 down game. You go and every time double up and then say, ki boss, ek time to hum jeet hi jayenge. You have to then define that this is my risk capital. I'll come to that later on also. So how much of risk to take? And you can't stop taking risk. Like you are riding a bicycle. If you are riding a bicycle, you have to continue to move forward. You cannot have an agenda कि boss इतना पैसा तो हो गया है, अब इसके बाद आगे नहीं चाहिए. That choice is not there. People will push you out. Either you continue to move or you will be sold out. Just get out of the way. So make wealth is entrepreneurship spirit, intuitive execution and informal systems. And then preserve wealth is family constitution, trust, role clarity. Roles are very important in family businesses. You see, it's very easy to allocate wealth across members. It's a number game. But when it comes to management division, who will look after what? There are 3 brothers who are looking after different divisions. Suddenly a young person joins in, he has done specialized education in that field and that place is not vacant. So a marketing guy is given something else to do. If you have not planned properly, then these things, these are the triggering moments when family faces a lot of challenge actually. You have to plan in advance. Role clarity and then combat entitlement and inertia. Combat entitlement means a space for some dissent actually. A new generation may have a different point of view. So, but how do you manage that? That part you should always know. And align wealth with purpose, balance liquidity and liquidity. The liquidity part is very important. I'll cover that later also. That's where this asset class management and all these things become important, that why alternate wealth management is necessary. If suppose you are invested solely in one particular asset class, and for some reason there is a problem there, or for some reason there is an opportunity elsewhere, it becomes very difficult. If you have alternate asset class, one is not doing well, you suddenly take it out from here, then put it there. You have that kind of a flexibility. Otherwise, you lose that. And liquidity drives businesses out of their play. It's not losses. A good business can survive losses for 1, 2, 3 years. Particularly cyclic businesses face it all the time. That for in between there will become 2, 3 years of a period where there will not be much growth or maybe some losses also. Businesses survive that. But businesses go out due to problems of liquidity. And invest in people, institution and meaning. Meaning means purpose. People should know who are with you, that what is the vision of this organization, what are the values of this organization. That's how you create an institution. And there are 3 buckets: operating wealth, legacy wealth and liquidity buffer. And the purpose of operating wealth means what you are doing on a day-to-day basis, your core business or your practice if you are a professional. So that's your operating wealth, where some money is invested. And then the legacy wealth is stability and intergenerational flow. You create some asset class, something which gets passed on and which is parked, like investing in maybe real estate or some other thing. And then there is a very deliberate intention to have liquidity buffer. Those are the families who survive for long period, because they always have some buffer, because suddenly some opportunity comes. You see, bad times also give opportunity, because there are a lot of businesses on sale. They allow you to really scale up. So good, I've read case studies of Reliance, that when the markets used to be down, that was the time when they used to scale up, build capacity, because they knew that cycle will be changing. So good family businesses know that if we have liquidity in bad times, we have to really consolidate, and in good times definitely you park the money out. So you do both the things together. And why businesses fail? Not due to losses, but like I've already covered that, not due to lack of ideas. You see, this is the, people think that ideas are the main thing. It is not ideas alone. It is how the organization, the people involved manage their ego issues. Who gets the credit, who gets involved, whether there is a team feeling or not. If unless these things are purposely managed and really championed by the leader himself, not merely words to be spoken or value chart to be put on the reception desk, that doesn't work actually. It has to be lived. And then not for business reasons, but family fractures. Most of the family businesses split not because of business reasons. They split because of family reasons actually. If they don't manage family well, there is a problem. So we all, whether you are big or small, family always remains important. You cannot ignore it. At the same time, if business fails, everything is lost. So you have to manage both the things. And staircase analogy. You see, most of the people forget one thing. I told you riding the momentum and all, that your first generation, you went doing things in a particular way. No staircase for a bigger height is made straight. Why? Because if you fall from anywhere, then you come down. So there is a landing, that means a consolidation phase, and then again you take a total 180-degree turn. Maybe you change your methods altogether, from hands-on to hands-off, from direct management to reporting systems, delegations. So you just remember that growth well planned is like a staircase, where you are open to take changes in stride. So ascend, energy and expansion, platform, pause, professionalize, clarify roles, and turn, reinvent, restructure and relead. This is a continuous process. Those families who are able to do it continuously, they really tend to grow all the time. And we are Indians. Our mythology has such a classical example of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the manager, and Mahesh is the inventor. Don't see as the god of destruction. He is a god of recreation. Something which has gone wrong, it is put right. So there is a deliberate, how beautiful it is that the entrepreneur has to take the back seat, let Vishnu manage, that is the professionals, and then Mahesh. So if you blend all of these things together, there is a deliberate intentional purpose. Like I give one example, why is it that Tata Group or Aditya Birla Group, they are continuously growing? You see, every entrepreneur has to think like this. आप ताश खेलते हैं, suppose गैम्बलिंग कर रहे हैं, प्लस खेल रहे हैं, थोड़ी देर खेला, जीत गए, पॉकेट में पैसा डाल दिया, चुप मारकर बैठ गए, पूरा गेम स्पॉइल हो जाता है. Similarly, some entrepreneurs tend to do that actually. When they make money, they stop taking risk. मैंने बोला आप साइकिल चला रहे हैं, आपको चलाते रहना पड़ेगा, आप रुक नहीं सकते. Similarly, when the Tata Group and all, you see they are into traditional businesses, steel में भी हैं और बाकी हजार पुरानी चीज़ों में. At the same time, they park 20-30% of their wealth and money that is generated every year for, they become venture capitalists with that fund. Every family can do that. When you decide that 30% of my wealth will be parked to be used into new ideas, new risks, maybe a young generation boy or girl is coming into the business, there is no place for that person in the organization, no value will be added. So if you become a venture capitalist for that, let them pitch to you, and maybe out of 3-4 youngsters in the family, one will come with a brilliant idea, and that will give you a sunrise business, and then you will grow, others can then join in, because not every business will succeed. You have to give them that comfort, but boss, don't worry, you be meticulous, consult us, take risk, try to do something better, something new, rather than just crowding the place. Because in a zero-sum game, if the business is not growing and it is divided among 4, if a 5th person joins in, then somebody else loses and rivalry starts. So unless it is that you have the capacity to ensure that the pie is increasing, when another person joins, then there is no sense of loss actually. There is a synergistic value by aiding that person. But suppose that is not possible, then what do? Then you become a venture capitalist for this new talent that is coming into business or coming to join you. Otherwise, why should they come to you? They come every day back home and listen to the stories of grumbling, not much satisfaction. So then they are not inclined to join. They have a safety of family wealth. They do much better outside, wherever they are. Because they are very straightforward, they are confident. Family business youngsters, when they join any organization, they do much better than other normal people. Because they know they have a safety net, यहाँ पे ज़्यादा कुछ problem हुआ तो अपना तो है ही है. And that benefit goes to those big organizations actually. So elders, what to change and what to preserve, this is the biggest dilemma. And this is where you will find answers to all the generational conflicts or all the conflicts in the world. What is the reason of that? The reason is inability to distinguish between values and practices. Okay, what is to be preserved? Values are to be preserved. And practices, according to time, be open to change. That's it. I give an example, since time is short, so I will not drag it so much. Like बड़ों के पाँव छूने चाहिए. So is it a value or practice? चलिए, मेरी बहू है, वो जब मेरे को देखती है, मैं जाता हूँ एयरपोर्ट से, दूर से आके जो गले लगती है, मेरा पाँव बाद में छूती है. क्या बढ़िया है? आपका पाँव छुए रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करे, रिस्पेक्ट करे पाँव नहीं छुए, क्या बढ़िया है? Try to understand the difference. बड़ों की इज्जत करनी चाहिए, ये है वैल्यू. उसका डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन डिफरेंट कल्चर डिफरेंट ढंग से करते हैं, डिफरेंट टाइम में डिफरेंट ढंग से होता है. उसको टेंशन नहीं लेने का है. क्लोथिंग थिंग्स, कई घर में साड़ी को कैसे पहनना है या नहीं करना है या क्या करना है, तो जो प्रैक्टिसेस, बी फ्लेक्सिबल अबाउट इट. अगर आप फ्लेक्सिबल नहीं होंगे तो यंग जनरेशन के लिए इन्फेरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स इशू हो जाएगा, उनके पीयर प्रेशर का सब्जेक्ट है. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट. सो बी फर्म अबाउट वैल्यूज and be flexible about practices. most of the generational gap issues will be sorted out there. And if you look at the worldly conflicts also, every religion will say कि हम लोग peaceful है. तो यानी आप वैल्यू लेवल पे बोलते हैं कि आप पीसफुल है, लफड़ा कहाँ है? सारा प्रैक्टिसेस लेवल पे. So I am not elaborating much on that, but that's where lies the answer. That the senior generation must become the custodian of values and make sure that it is passed on and become flexible about practices. And next generation should become innovators and don't protect assets. पुरानी चीज़ों को पकड़ कर जो जल गई हैं, राख हो गई हैं, क्यों उनको पीट रहे हैं? नई आग को हवा दीजिए, इंस्पायर करिए, उनको सपोर्ट करिए. Oh, I've gone back. So, I visualize that there will be different type of people in the audience, professional firms, traditional businesses, and many of you in the today's given scenario have become wealth managers actually, or family offices are there. That has become the full-time job, and what's wrong with that? I mean, there is nothing wrong with that. Easy entry, easy exit. Whereas if you are in a traditional business, there is a big bad cycle, you can't get out of it easily. But everything is valid because that stock market is ultimately a derivative thing. If the real market doesn't do, if the main street doesn't do well, the Wall Street cannot do well, or Dalal Street cannot do well. So ultimately the backbone is the main street. So some businesses are facing these challenges where a lot of recently a lot of discussion has also taken place on this kind of subject. So anyway, so if you are a professional firm, your reputation is the main thing. So that is your value. You have to protect that. क्यों छत्र साहब? एक प्रोफेशनल फर्म के लिए उसके लिए सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ क्या है? उसकी रेपुटेशन उसको अपने बचा के चलना है. एंड देन मेंटरशिप एंड क्वालिटी प्रोटोकॉल्स. डूज एंड डोंट शुड बी वेल डिफाइंड. कि ये हमारे यहाँ नहीं चलता है, हमारे यहाँ ये नहीं होगा. And then you mentor new generation or new breed of talent, internal, external, that will depend. And then traditional businesses, market centric, governance and reinvention, they have to keep on coming with new things. And wealth and investment, capital centric, stewardship and diversification. I told you already that if you are only stuck in one particular asset class because that is doing very well at a particular given point of time, that's not a very good strategy from a long term point of view. Because if that asset class doesn't do well, then you are stuck. Or suppose there is a good opportunity elsewhere, you have no money. I see here a lot of people telling कि boss ये share अच्छा लग रहा है लेकिन क्या करें? हम over invested हैं हर चीज में. So that ability to switch over, look at people like Warren Buffett and all, they just sometimes take out the entire money, park it elsewhere, or be flexible about it. Sometimes your decision may go wrong, that you took the money out and market still went up. These are part of the game, but remember you are not in the make wealth game. You are in the preserve wealth game also, and you are in the grow wealth game. You have to accept that boss 15% per annum का मेरे को compound growth rate आ रहा है, मेरे को चलता है. Because you are not in that position now, you have reached to a status, you need to maintain that. There is an expectation from society also. So you cannot play the make or break game. So there are certain things which you should not do. I am a firm believer that what is the right thing to do, that's a very difficult question. That's not prescriptive also, because every family business differs from one another. So there cannot be 5-10 formulas and I can say, okay, do this and there is a checklist and then everything will be fine. You have to really understand the nuances and the various factors, who are the influencers in this family, not only the main players, and a lot of complexities are there. So, but what not to do, you see, 10 commandments are defined in negatives. Thou shalt not. I am a Jain, most of the philosophies are in negatives. Anekant, ahimsa, prigraha, they are defined in negatives. Don't do this. But what you should do, that list becomes then very long actually. So at least, and that's the easiest thing to adapt also. If you know what not to do, that's, I tell you, it can be easily a takeaway. You can start implementing from tomorrow. But what to do becomes very difficult. It requires a lot of agenda participation. So what not to do? So no entitlement. Never let the next generation feel that they are entitled to the management part of it. I am not talking about the wealth part of it. At least the management part of it should not go by entitlement. Because you have nurtured a tree, If the tree survives, everybody gets the fruit. So management should not go by entitlement. Wealth, fine, everybody may get equal or whatever that you can do. No dictatorship, no last minute succession. Succession is not an event actually. It's a process, a long drawn process. You have to invest into it. And then no symbolism without substance, philanthropy, governance and legacy must be real. Not performative. ये कर लिया, ये दिखा दिया, ये हो गया. Governance is to be lived. You have to allow yourself to be disciplined, to be held accountable. No all in bets. I've already told you cannot take risk like a fresh entrepreneur, a startup. No denial of downside. Don't deny that momentum will not change. Momentum changes. Bad times come. So be prepared for that. So anyway, this is the closing reflection. Designing for continuity, you don't inherit legacy, you earn it, every generation must. It's a stewardship. You are a trustee for the next generation. That kind of a thinking actually. And ask yourself, are we burning us or flowing forever? Are we obsessed with making wealth or mastering how to grow it holistically? Do we script the next generation? Do we dictate or do we invite them to co-create as a partner? In fact, in stock market investing also, family business investors should think like a partner, not like an investor. If you partner into a business, you pick up only those shares in which you have a long-term belief. You would yourself have gone into that business. Then market cycles will not affect you. If the market will go down, if you trust that business, you will invest more. If you think like that, I am investing into this business like a partner with an exit option. Are we obsessed with making wealth or mastering how to grow holistically? Do we script? Okay. In the end, it is not about what you build, but what you leave behind in trust, in wisdom, and in design. What values? Because that's what gets passed on. Otherwise, wealth will not last. पूत सपूत तो क्यों धन संचय, पूत कपूत तो क्यों धन संचय, लक्ष्मी चंचला है, ये सब इतनी बातें हम लोग सुनते रहते हैं. एग्जाम्पल देखने जाते हैं तो थर्ड फोर्थ जनरेशन में वेल्थ नज़र नहीं आती है. बट थिंग्स हैव चेंज्ड. पहले ये एक वेल रिसर्च फील्ड नहीं था. नाउ इट इज़ वेल रिसर्च्ड. लॉट ऑफ स्टडीज हैव गॉन इनटू इट, हाउ टू प्रिजर्व वेल्थ. सो यू कैन टेक एडवांटेज ऑफ दैट एंड यू कैन प्लान अकॉर्डिंगली. थैंक यू. एनी क्वेश्चंस? द रिस्क रिमेन्स देयर.
We have about 10 minutes for any questions from the audience, please. Anyone? I think it's a fairly complex subject. Sir, आपने इतना बढ़िया बोला है, so I think either people are so confused कि अब जाके सुनना है कि wealth कैसे हमें अपना preserve करना है, or you've given a lot of clarity. We'll appreciate if we have one or two questions from the audience.
Yeah, please go ahead.
हाँ, just एक छोटा सा, आपने लास्ट में ये कहा कि आप जिस बिजनेस में हो उसी के शेयर में इन्वेस्ट करो, ऐसा कुछ कहा ना, जो आपने समझा हुआ है बिजनेस उसी के टाइप के उसमें, ऐसा कुछ आपने कहा.
मैं ये बोलना चाह रहा था कि आप जब इन्वेस्ट करो, आप सस्टेनिंग वेल्थ के एंगल से देख रहे हो, तो आप सिर्फ शॉर्ट टर्म अपॉर्चुनिटी की तरह मत देखो. जिस बिजनेस में आप बिलीव करते हो कि आप इस बिजनेस को लगा सकते थे या इसमें पार्टनर कर सकते थे, आप उस तरह से इन्वेस्ट करो.
हाँ, तो वो ठीक है, लेकिन हम तो प्रोफेशन में हैं.
प्रोफेशन में हैं तो अब मैं ऐसा तो कैसे बोल सकता हूँ कि आपको अच्छी टिप मिले तो आप उसमें पैसा लगा दो. ये तो मैं नहीं बोल सकता. आप प्रोफेशन में हैं, लेकिन प्रोफेशनल्स बहुत रॉन्ग होते हैं इन्वेस्टिंग के मामले में. इसके पीछे रीजन यही है कि वही बात है, एक अकेला आदमी है, कोई सिस्टम नहीं है, एक्सेलरेटर है गाड़ी में, ब्रेक कोई नहीं है, कोई रोकने वाला नहीं है. कैसीनो की तरह जाते हैं. पैसा तो क्या है, बिजनेस में तो इन्वेस्टमेंट कुछ है नहीं, तो लगा देते हैं. 10,000 रुपये आज खोने के लिए आए हैं. भाषा भी यही रहती है, मतलब लैंग्वेज भी यही रहती है कि आज 10,000 रुपया खोने के लिए आए हैं. तो फिर आप खोगे नहीं भाई. आपका माइंडसेट ही नहीं है कि जब आप कमाने के लिए आए हो, क्योंकि आज एक प्रोफेशनल के पॉकेट में 10,000 रुपया आ जाता है ना, तो उसके बाद में उसको लगता है कि मेरे को तो कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट बोलकर तो कुछ है नहीं, तो वो वेल्थ का माइंडसेट बनने लगा है. थैंकफुली थिंग्स हैव चेंज्ड. अपने क्लाइंट का बिजनेस ग्रो कर रहा है, अगर आप अपने बिजनेस में बिलीव करते हैं, जरूर करना चाहिए आपको. लेकिन एक दूसरी एक थिंकिंग चलती है पैरेलली कि आप कुछ पैसा एक्स्ट्रा एडिशनल निकाल कर भी चलिए। देखिए कभी कभी एक रिस्क रहती है, इसके दो एस्पेक्ट हैं। अगर आपका बिजनेस इतना बढ़िया उसमें है, मोमेंटम में है कि वहाँ रिक्वायरमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा और आपको कॉन्फिडेंस है, तो वहीं इन्वेस्ट करिए। अदरवाइज ओवर कैपिटलाइज करने का रिस्क रहता है, और ओवर कैपिटलाइजेशन इनएफिशिएंसी बढ़ा देता है। तो ये बड़ा एकदम सिचुएशनल इसका आंसर हो सकता है, स्पेसिफिक में कुछ नहीं बोल पाऊंगा इसमें। या प्लीज।
So thank you for sharing your insights. Mostly family businesses, the people who are managing different aspects of the family wealth or divisions, everybody tend to be in a position where they feel that they are right, and it ultimately ends up into a conflict. So what arbitration system would you suggest? Like when we have any issues, we go to the arbitration, but in a family system, how would you recommend that to put that forward?
First of all, since I know you are young, the arbitration word is very extreme actually. There are systems actually. There are definitely systems. If the family, you see the problem arises, I am telling you there is a very peculiar situation. 2 years back, sit down. 2 years back, I was invited to speak in a seminar in Bombay of young Maheshwari something something. Okay. And the topic given was succession planning. I told the organizers कि बॉस आप मेरे को गलत ऑडियंस के लिए गलत टॉपिक दे रहे हो, पर वो एडमेंट हो गए कि नहीं नहीं आपको इसी पे बोलना है। मैं बोला ठीक है भाई, जब आप बोल रहे हो तो मैं बोलता हूँ। सो आई वेंट देयर, देन आई टोल्ड दोज पीपल दैट बॉस देयर इज ए प्रॉब्लम हियर। मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ उसको सुनने के बाद आपको फ्रस्ट्रेशन के अलावा कुछ नहीं मिलेगा। सक्सेशन आपके हाथ में नहीं है, वो सीनियर जनरेशन के हाथ में है। तो आप नॉलेज ऐसा ले लोगे जिसका जानने के बाद आपको बेचैनी और बढ़ जाएगी। तो बेटर है कि आप नहीं जानो, मैं आपको वो बताऊंगा जो आपके लिए ज़्यादा रिलेवेंट है। देन एवरीबडी एग्रीड कि यस ठीक है, ये ठीक है। व्हाट यू आर टेलिंग इज देयर आर डेफिनेटली सिस्टम्स लाइक फैमिली काउंसिल, एडवाइजरी काउंसिल एंड ऑल। You see, nobody can say conflicts will not be there. No matter how good your marriage is, how good your friendship is, conflict will always be there, and that has to be invited. Good families don't just try to suppress conflict. The conflict means manbhed matbhed, you all know that part actually. If the difference of opinion will not be there, I understand where you are coming from. Sometimes there becomes a frustration when you hit a dead wall. What to do about it, how to go about it. Try to avoid situation when you are confronting a person or alone. A very dominant person should always be confronted when there are other people sitting. Okay, I am just giving you small tricks, not very complex idea. Okay, and probably in a boardroom type of setup. We tend to be probably a little bit more logical when we are having that. Otherwise, if you start discussing on the dining table, it will not work out. So the family council and all, you study about it, whether your family people, your seniors will be open to that, that's the big challenge. I can't say about that. There's one thing I like to conclude with. Since you told that it's a very complex subject and then it will take time, I understand that it requires hours actually. So I just remembered one cartoon that I saw somewhere, that a big wealthy CEO went to Himalayas. The cartoon had a helicopter standing over there. Here is the sage, the saint sitting here, and the CEO tells him that Guruji, I have come here to understand the meaning of life, but please do it fast, I don't have time. So I have just given you some flavors. Okay, take that value and practice it part with you. That will be very helpful. Take that what not to do part. That's going to be helpful, and rest is upon you.
I think that deserves a big round of applause from the audience. On behalf of ACE, sir, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you for sparing time and valuable insights with our audience. It's indeed a very complicated subject, but my takeaway personally would be that wealth is not just about numbers, it's a lot about values. Thank you so much for being a part of our ACE family. To the audience, thank you so much for staying tuned in. We have a very exciting panel discussion coming up soon. The panelists are all here. Thank you so much.